Welcome back to Season 2 of the Recovery Daily Podcast, where we peel back the layers of our lives, celebrate the little victories, and embrace growth and joy within our struggles. Here's your host, Rachel Miller, sharing her journey through stroke recovery, sobriety, and self-discovery.
Hi there, my beautiful community of listeners. In today's episode, we're getting personal and practical. After my stroke, I was left with a bit of a mountain to climb, to say the least, in terms of my learning and language skills. And so I've been given some strategies by the neuropsychiatrist in the report that I talked about yesterday to make this ascent of this mountain a bit easier. So I'd like to share them with you because we're in this climb together. And if there are any folks that have suffered from a mild cognitive disorder from a stroke, or you find yourself experiencing just even some of those inconvenient little brain blips that occur when you can't seem to process information the way that you used to. People of all ages experience difficulties multiple times per day, and they increase with age. So if I look at it from this perspective, then it makes me feel a little better. It makes me not feel so alone. And I think we can all learn from these strategies. So that's why I want to share them with you. So I'm going to dive into the toolkit that I was gifted by the neuropsychiatrist, who is yet another specialist that has been added to Team Rachel on this recovery expedition. So these are helpful tips in navigating that foggy brain and that feeling like my brain just checks out when I'm trying to learn new things. So I'm going to get started. There are, I think, seven strategies here. So we'll dive right in. So the first strategy, the magic of notes. So picture little notes peppered all around the house like breadcrumbs, leading you to your tasks and your appointments. So I can stick them on my mirror, on the fridge, on my front door. They're like little memory guardians. So what I can use notes for is like to take my wallet with me when I leave the house, when I go to the doctor. So I've been, thankfully I have my boyfriend, and he's very much my little memory guardian right now. But I would like to become more independent. And right now, him and I both agree that it would be very difficult for me to remember obvious things like turning off the oven. And, I almost left the house without my wallet. So it's those things that just come natural that don't come natural to me anymore. It's really quite awkward and weird and frustrating. So putting a sticky note on my mirror to check the stove or the oven before I go to bed would be important if I didn't have my boyfriend here. Also, our stove/oven is actually smart, like it's hooked as up to Bluetooth on our network. So he has a notification on his phone, even when he's like out and on a business dinner or something like that, and he's away from the house, he gets notified if I'm cooking something. So he knows when I've turned the stove or the oven on and when I've turned it off. So I know he's pretty amazing. I know. So the second strategy is rituals and rhythms. So next up we have these rituals, and this is the power of routine. Doing something at the same time each day like taking vitamins or walking the dog, creates a rhythm that's easy for my brain. And it's about making important things inescapable because they're a part of like my daily beat. I th- I think it just reduces the need to think, which for me is a little harder right now, and maybe it's always going to be that way. Maybe things are always going to be a little harder now. It takes a lot of energy to think about what used to be second nature to me. Only I know, though, how hard it is. I think that my desire to appear normal is probably very much covering up the how much energy I'm expending while I'm trying to think and communicate. What it feels like, what I was thinking about when I was planning for this podcast, it feels like being overwhelmed by noise while somebody is also trying to talk to you. That's how hard my brain works in order to talk to people. I remember when my kids were younger and my son would be down in the basement not banging on the drums, playing the drums very well. But when we're upstairs trying to have a conversation, it was a lot of noise, It down there it's music. Up when you're trying to have a conversation, it's noise, and it makes it difficult to have a conversation. Like you can't really think straight because you've got this like sound echoing. That's what it feels like all the time, even when it's quiet. Like for me, if it's even in the quiet house when I'm trying to talk, it sounds like, no, it feels like there's noise. It's just kind of overwhelming. So creating a rhythm and habits, routines. The third strategy is one stage at a time. This is about focus. And today we live in a world, we were just talking about this earlier, my boyfriend and I. We live in this world where doing one thing at a time feels like putting a record on a record player. It's slow, it's inefficient. We're not used to doing things that way. Like pulling a record out of a sleeve and, carefully pulling up the needle and placing now we just scroll and hit a button with our finger. So we're used to being able to do things faster and easier so that we can do multiple things at one time. But our brains really dig just a single track record, especially with this neurocognitive disorder. So when I'm learning something new now, I need to be doing just that. I need to be focused on learning that new thing. No multitasking, just undivided attention. So my boyfriend's been telling me this for years, that I need to stop multitasking and do one thing at a time. Well, you know what? Now I can't multitask. And I've been telling, ever since my stroke, I'm like, I cannot do two things at once anymore. And we laugh because he's like, well, you never could. But now I literally can't. I will mess up. I will cause errors in whatever the two things are that I'm trying to do. So one thing at a time, no multitasking. The fourth strategy is creative recall. So number 4 is where we get artsy with our memory. It's about painting pictures in our mind that stick to help you recall something. Whether it's this is more, I guess it's long term or short term because I have two examples. So If you need to remember to call your friend Jack, like extend that thought and instill that in your memory in a way where you're like visualizing Jack doing jumping jacks. So it's not just this to do you have to remember, you're actually making it stick more in your brain because you're creating a longer memory of it, or a long, I don't know, a longer like you're hitting record longer. So, or if you need to get multiple items, like when you're making a recipe, this is something I struggle with. You're making a recipe because you guys know I've been baking and cooking a lot lately. um if you are trying to get multiple recipe items from around the kitchen, you can practice using an acronym. So I will read several things from the recipe that I need to get. So an example would be lemons, apples, noodles, and dates. And by the time I get, I'll go to get the lemons and the apples out of the fruit bowl. But at that point, I don't remember the noodles and the dates anymore. So I can't remember that many things like I used to. I don't know. That didn't used to be a problem. I would just get all the stuff. Well, now I just can't. It doesn't stay stuck in my head. So instead, practice using the first letter of each of those items and create an acronym. So for example, lemons, apples, noodles, and dates would be LAND, LAND. And then you don't have to keep running back to the recipe book. Well, for me, it's a book, but most people would be probably on their phone. So, yeah, I think that's really helpful. And I will try that. The fifth strategy is a place for everything. So, strategy 5 is about real estate and the real estate of the inside of your home. So, assign a spot for everything. For example, my wallet always goes on the hall tree by the door. I never put my wallet anywhere else. If I need to get something out of my wallet, I put forth the energy to get my wallet, do what else I need with it, and then bring it back and put it all the way down on the hall tree. Because if I don't put it there, I will never remember where I put it. My AirPods, those always go on my nightstand. It's like creating a map of the house with all my stuff, and everything has a permanent spot. And what's cool is that my boyfriend is super, super neat. Yes, I know, he's the perfect person. So he's really neat, and everything is always in its spot. And he's very big on that, making sure everything has its spot. And so he has taught me over the years to find a spot for all of my stuff. He has kindly guided me in that direction. No, I just learned by watching him, and so it it's something that we've already practiced over the years, but even more so, these things that I use every day, like my phone and my AirPods, I try not to stick my phone like wherever I'm walking around or something, like stick my phone, on the kitchen counter or something like that, because I just won't remember that it's there. Everybody has that issue, I think. What's good is I really don't use my phone as much as I used to because it hurts my head. So I just put my phone in a spot in the house, and I'm not necessarily carrying it around anymore. So find a place for everything. The sixth strategy is echo, echo. So 6 is what is called the echo technique, and this is repeat it to beat it. People's names, to-dos, whatever is new information, say it out loud, say it again and again. It's like your voice is the hammer, and repetition is hitting the nail on the head, securing it into place. So today we were cooking, and this evening we were cooking, I can't remember what it's called now, darn it. We said it over and over and over again. Ma m- mujadara. Yeah, mujadara. It's a Moroccan dish. And he was telling me what I needed to do. So I needed to put the shallots in the Instant Pot for 4 minutes, and then after 4 minutes, remove half of them and put the garlic in, and then saute that for 2 minutes. And so you can see, like, I remember it long term. I remember it from earlier tonight. But what I couldn't remember was when he told me. He had to say it about 4 or 5 times before I got it all and could retain it. So super interesting to me. But what we did was he just kept repeating it to me, and then I repeated it back, and then I had it, and then I hammered that nail in and secured it into place, and then I was able to do it. So interesting, frustrating, yes, but I need to practice acceptance, and that's something that it will come. It will come. So the 7th strategy is your calendar, your canvas. So last but not least, my calendar. And my calendar is like a canvas painting a picture of my week. And I have learned more and more that I need to use the calendar for everything. So whenever somebody says they're coming over, like my niece is coming over to visit, I have to put it on my calendar. I may think that, oh, I love my niece, I can't wait, I'm super excited, but even my love and excitement does not help me remember what day she's coming. It just doesn't. So I have to put it on my calendar. And so when I have appointments even that are written for the next day on my calendar, I now am calling the day before to verify that I do in fact have that appointment. And the reason why is because several months ago, at the beginning of this, like 6 months ago, as I was going to vision therapy, going to the neurologist, like I had all of these different appointments, I was writing them down wrong. I don't know why, I don't know how, but I was getting them wrong. Maybe it was because it was new information. Somebody would tell me when the appointment was, and what I used to be able to do is just be like, oh, okay, it's Tuesday at 3. And then I turned to my phone and put it in as Tuesday at 3. But what was happening was I wasn't getting it right. When they would tell me the information, it was not sticking. So I was putting it in my phone, just that brief period of time between them telling me when the appointment was and me recording that into my phone or writing it down, I was getting it wrong. It's fascinating. But I was. And so I can't tell you how many times he drove me to a doctor at the wrong time, wrong day, wrong time. And it wasn't just once, it was several times. And a couple times it left me in tears. I felt so stupid and like so helpless that I can't even manage my own calendar. So I started calling ahead and verifying because I can manage my calendar. I just have to do it differently, you know? And sometimes when I had my neuropsychiatric evaluation, I verified that. No, it wasn't that one. Was it? No, I think it was my neuro ophthalmologist exam. I don't know. One of them I verified like 3 times. That was when I had the appointment. Yeah, it was the neuro-ophthalmologist because we had to go all the way to Chevy Chase. And I was like, that's going to be terrible. If I walk in there and then I come out and I'm like, sorry, we're here on the wrong day. So I called like 3 times. So it's really important for me to work really hard at being able to manage my own calendar because that feeling of helplessness and inability to be independent was terribly depressing to me. And because I don't want to get these things wrong, and I want to be able to, I don't, at least work hard to do what I used to be able to do. And if I can work hard at it and get it done, then I'm going to work hard at it. Because we were talking about how he's like, oh, well, I'll just put it on my calendar. Well, that's great, but I want to be able to manage a calendar, So um, I can't be more appreciative of how he steps in and is willing to do anything to help me. Um, and and I'm so appreciative, but I also have this side of me that has always wanted to be an independent person. Um, and so it's important for me to if I'm capable of doing it, I'm going to try really hard to do it. So, and all of that gives me purpose and direction each day by having this calendar. So I'll wrap up this episode by saying that these strategies, they're not just advice for me. They are something I'm trying to make a part of my daily life now. And they will help me stay mentally fit, keep my days structured and keep providing me with goals and checkpoints approaching those goals. They help me to break down the complex stuff that used to be easy. Now it's complex for me to do. Break it down into manageable steps and take the time that I need to truly absorb and understand things that I used to be able to absorb and understand so much quicker. And when I try to do things the way that I used to do them, I am just rushing through it, and now I'm just tripping over my feet. So I'm going to try to continue to push forward, keep adapting, and most importantly, keep thriving. And man, oh, it's a lot. It's a lot. But I hope these strategies help some of you as well. I know that they are touching on things that we all probably struggle with at times. It's just mine are exaggerated. That thing that we have where you get like a brain blip. I get those like all the time. It's like constant all day long. Like I was explaining to somebody today, before like earlier this morning, I was like brushing my teeth. And when I finished brushing my teeth, I thought, okay, I need to do X. So let's say I need to get a hair tie out of under the sink. So I finished brushing my teeth. I think I need to get a hair tie. I bend down, open the cabinet, and I forgot. I forgot what it was that I needed. And that shit is happening all day long. All day long. It's just like that. Like I'm snapping my finger. It's like that. I think of something and then it's like a beat and then it's gone. And it's just it's so hard. I'm bent. I'm complaining now. That's what it sounds like. I feel like, but it is. It is hard. And that's why I do the podcast, to talk about how hard it is, to be real about it. Yeah, I've got all these great tips on what I'm going to do, but it doesn't change the fact that when I lean down to get something, I forget by the time my knees bend. So anyway, just being real. And so every day is a chance to learn something new about ourselves. And I just have to learn differently than I used to. That's all. And I can handle that. So that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for listening. Hey, don't forget to reach out to me by email, rachel@recoverydailypodcast.com. You know you want to. I know some of you that are listening. I know who you are. So reach out to me. Send me an email. Like, I'm really enjoying the episode. Some of you have my cell phone number. Text me. Tell me something so I can say, hey, one of our listeners shared that he has issues with memory when he's cooking also. Anyway, send me a message. I would love to hear from people so that we can talk. The doctor says I need to continue social interaction. So you've got to help me. You got to email me or text me. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you tomorrow.